Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. We are going to spice up technology today because hot off of the Techpalooza event, we've got cybersecurity expert Michael Goldstein joining us from Land Infotech. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Jacqueline, how you doing today?
I'm so good. It's been too long.
It, it has. It's definitely been a while.
We need a cybersecurity, update. We're going into 2023 and we need to be protected. What did you learn at Techpalooza? Tell us what it is, what it was about. You were a huge sponsor of it.
So, the South Florida Tech Hub is a local technology community, not for profit, I always say, and Techpalooza is their largest event of the year. So, this year, post-pandemic, they decided to hold the venue at the wonderful Museum of Discovery and Science in downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
So besides getting some great technology, it's always cool walking around the museum, supporting out there. And even just there were Brightline discounts for people to go there Brightline because the Brightline station
what?
wasn't that far. So
Nice.
Techpalooza was great. We were a key sponsor out there, and we had a pavilion set up. Anyone that's ever been to the Museum of Discovery Science, you go right in upstairs. The Keller Theater was there. We
I
had
love
people
that place.
from Oh, it is great. We had Microsoft. We had our sponsor Acronis. We had a new company called Token that had a token ring for those of us that have been around, the ring for authentication. Walking around the show was just amazing because as I'm focused on IT, even the city of Fort Lauderdale was there, had a booth to talk about technology in smart cities, city furniture, besides the major tech companies. But, where would you think that you'd be walking into this wonderful museum and I look behind me and there's a electronic dog, a robot that came
Right.
in. So, it really was an amazing day. And listen, after you got a little, yeah, that thing was amazing. I don't
That's it.
have the picture, but as I was walking out, because we didn't realize that the museum was also open for regular business that day. So
Oh,
as I was
okay.
leaving, must have been about 5:30, loading up my car. There was a family following this dog, and I got to see this electronic robot walk down the front steps.
Wow. Yeah, right. The little legs, it
Yeah,
kind
the
of.
little legs on there. And it was all walks of life. There was storage companies, there were people that were using their space for the exhibits, to play around. It was a great event, hundreds of people that were coming in and out. And I'm a managed service provider. I do IT. There were software companies. We had a lot of volunteers from the Dan Marino Institute, helping people go around. Companies I never heard of being in the industry. So, just displaying various pieces of technology. A lot of good speakers. And, besides my cyber piece that was there, we were out there right behind where the airplane parts were. So it was kind of a lot of fun. But the CIO of ADT gave one of the keynotes.
Oh,
We
wow.
had the CEO of a local backup company, eSilo, was on a panel with me. Um, we also had a vendor fly in from Washington, D.C., that makes specialized secure Android devices for governments and cities. So wasn't just about your standard kind of technology. It really was about everything. You talk to City Furniture. That was one of my fun discussions where they're making smart furniture, right?
What? Tell
Yep.
me about that. Like what are we talking here? Smart furniture, what is it doing?
Well, they specifically, we were talking about, listen, everyone wants home automation, right? If you walked into one of the furniture stores these days, wouldn't it be great if not only, you had a spot in your couch where you kind of charge, but what about wireless charging, speakers inside of that? So I think that, even retrofitting just a standard living room these days, there's tech, right?
Well, I tell you what, you mentioned that, and I'm just saying that because I have my mom is like in her 80s, approaching 90, and her sister is in her 90s now. And the whole time we were here for the holidays, and I'm like, wow, if you could have something a little closer from the TV, that was other than just headphones themselves, that would just be awesome, for seniors in particular, that are struggling with hearing, and watching a
It's true.
television.
It's true. But you walk in now, you're buying it, then you have to, in your mom's case, or even my mom's case, they'll look to get their children or their grandchildren to come hook all this stuff up. So it's
Right.
interesting to hear City Furniture doing some home automation in some of those things. So, here we are, you're like City Furniture, or even the city of Fort Lauderdale. So you expected tech companies like ours, and there were lots that I didn't hear of. So it was a fun day. A lot of technology, the ADT CIO coming in there and just talking about what ADT is doing just in the technology field, not only just alarms and alerting and how they're protecting people in a different way on that side of it. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, my buddy Sanjay from 24/7, who does a lot of cyber policies and different pieces out there. It was really fun having this panel and getting all different types of people. I saw vendors that actually came in to hear us speak. It was, I love this event. I love the venue that was there, and our team was there. I think Thursday night setting up and assisting other people in setting up from like 5 to almost 10:30. I think Glenn was there till almost 11 o'clock, and then there at
I don't
6:30 the
doubt it.
next morning. So
And that's kind of hysterical and, funny in a way. Here you are, you're the cyber tech, but you have to still set up, you know, uh, so
it's
that you
logis
guys can share your information, and it is the logistics. Now
it's
I'm looking at this
logistics.
yeah, and I'm looking at this picture. So one of the things that I love about Land Info Tech is you're not just securing our security, our computers and whatnot, but behind you on the screen it says alarming cybersecurity statistics. Tell us, what were you talking about during this time?
So at this time it was really interesting. So the first panel speaker, she was the CEO of eSilo, which is a backup vendor, and she was reading this great resume of where she worked before, large companies, all her degrees, and then the person sitting next to me was from a company that sponsored and made all these great Google devices, and he used to work for Google and had all these resumes, and I'm just an IT guy when it comes in there on that. But it was kind of fun because we came at it in different sides. I talk about that. The hackers are always out there. We know this. We read about it all the time. And there is no cure. There's no vaccine, to go out and cure this pandemic that's there. So we really talk about education. That was a focus of what I talked about. Out there speaking at events like this, varying places, let people know what to look for. You know, give them some tips and tricks. That was a very big focus, and to really overemphasize that everybody's a target. This isn't for the just big companies that are out there. And there's various ways that you can go out there and educate. So I urged people, to change your password. Our funny line of the day, and Sanjay called it something different, but one of my most strategic or most popular posts all year, as you look at it, is I had this little graphic of a toothbrush, and it said, treat your passwords like your toothbrush, don't share them.
Don't share them, right?
So
And
we we
see,
we 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 emphasize the little things that, yes, we all have, IT companies and various people, but we have to promote this in the community. Explain to people about password. We do a lot of speaking with Broward County sheriffs. We're at different types of events, sex trafficking events that are talking and talking about how social media and the bad guys that are hackers are using that data in there, and actually talk to our kids, monitor our kids, and and then lastly, what we really kind of do, of course, you have multiple devices and they're all going off. But lastly, what we really talked about is, being out there in the public. I always say, don't use public Wi-Fi. Use things to make yourself less conspicuous. Um, and then one of the questions that we talked about, and I think it was just recently in the news, and someone had asked a question, and they were talking about TikTok, and
mm,
how TikTok's been in the news. We expect a federal bill to be passed that TikTok should be removed or banned from all government devices. So government devices, and they talked about how Yes, those funny little videos we all watch, they feel that it's owned by a Chinese company, and a lot of our data could be viewed in China. So it was an interesting piece that here, where someone brings up TikTok. I brought my own thoughts of just TikTok in general. So it was a very great conversation that's out there. I think in the end, we wanted everybody to realize that we are all potential victims that are out there, whether it's just your credit card, as we're all rushing for last minute shopping, you know, 10 minutes before this, I was on, a site making sure that my gifts were coming in time,
Right.
credit card scam, protecting your workstation, making sure that you're using real passwords. And then what we did as a company, starting between Thanksgiving and Halloween, is we started preparing our clients with, cyber awareness training courses. But more importantly, we got a lot of our clients to agree so that we can fish them, because we are
Right.
coming into, listen, I know between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, I probably got 90% of my holiday shopping with. So we're like, you know what? We'll make sure that you you know lots of times your deliveries are coming either from Amazon. I'll just pick Amazon and UPS. Rarely does FedEx deliver a holiday gift to me. So in that time of year, we really have to be aware of what we're clicking on, and that's all year. But you know it,
Especially now, right?
it's the holiday season. So we were really, talking about those statistics that are out there, talking about what people can do. But we had various ages that were in the audience. We had various different organizations that were in the audience. I had some of my competitors that I grabbed and talked about, so that they feel that, there are other people, not just the people on the stage, talking about this.
So tell us a little bit about Land Infotech and how people can use your services or what they can do, whether they own a company or not.
So we are considered what we'll define as a managed service provider. So basically, small and medium-sized companies. Listen, we have plenty of one, two, threes, and fives, but we have plenty of 50s and 100s too. So I employ 24 people. They're all my employees. We run help desk. So when companies that have a contract with us, or our customers that have a problem, they want to dial someone, get them on the phone, and be able to service and support it. So what we do for our clients is offer them various products that help protect them, and leave the IT to us. That way you have a problem, you could either submit a ticket to us, you can go out there and email us, you can pick up the phone and call us, and we'll troubleshoot. So we make sure that the systems are always up and running, and then we're here to be advising. If you're one of those people that go for annual physicals, sometimes you're perfectly healthy, but the doctor gives you things as we get older in age. And it's the same type of thing. We want people to have someone to call. We want to build that trust factor. We want to make sure that their systems are up and running, secure, and that they're preaching what we're saying out to their employees. So it's an important factor to go out there and call a professional. And lastly, I kind of say, God forbid you have one of those, bad diseases. You're not going to consult your dentist for something that might be affecting your heart. So everybody has a computer person, as we were joking, whether it's someone's son, grandson, brother-in-law, cousin. In reality, in your time of need, if they're not, full time at what they do, I can't live without my computer systems. And I know that
Well,
most
definitely
businesses
not
can't.
you. Well,
Well,
the one thing I like and have liked about Land Infotech and all the employees that I know from Land Infotech, which have been in several of my stories, including yourself, is that you're so hands-on and you're so personable. Even every time that I've done a story about Land Infotech, whether it's how you have helped nonprofits, raise money virtually, when they couldn't be in person and still are probably doing it because it was just more effective, or how you really helped all of Florida, all of South Florida and beyond. When this pandemic hit, you really helped them stay in business, including the chambers of commerce. I mean, you have always been a personable company who is high tech, but it's still community. And that is why I keep coming back to Land Infotech, and I keep talking about you because even if it's a small company, you will still talk to them as if they're the only client that you have. And that is something I appreciate as somebody who looks in and watches. And I think it's because of the people that, you hire, you work with, and I think they feed off of who you are because that's kind of like your personality. Michael, if I can say so myself, you're just a helper. And
I appreciate that. I
you know
really
that.
do.
You know
You know,
it's true, but it's just it's better if I say it, but you're just a helper and it comes across in your business and with your employees and from the people that you've served. And I say that because also you help in the school system, you help with our local police departments, and I know that now you're doing something, you're going to be on the board with career source. That's awesome, news. What's that going to be like, or what can we learn from that?
you know what? We're, we've always talked about how we can help, and we hear different workforce numbers that are in place. With the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber, I'm involved in a lot of different councils. Same thing with Pompano, and always it's about employment. So we're, CareerSource has some great programs that are out there. There are apprenticeship programs for existing employees. There are, I'll call it try and buy type things for employees where the state pays for that, helps train people to bring them up there. There's so many different programs that are accessible to bring people back into employment. And it's not just, I'll say, it's not just IT, it's anything. It's administrative, it's high end, it's low end. There's a lot of people that could use this. And listen, each year there are money left on the table that are
Right.
in those budgets, millions of dollars that aren't used. So you could retrain your employees. I'll use the example, and I've been using this example for years because we've been a client of CareerSource. We've used this. If you were a company that made teacups, and now coffee cups are in style, there are products to go out there to retrain your staff to help you continue to stay in business and make money. So it's not just retraining in IT. There's a lot of different programs that are out there, and we've been talking about this for years. And then the apprenticeship program, the ability to kind of take someone, and it's a focused apprentice program. So bring someone in, and different than internship, but bring someone in, have them be a paid apprentice to go out there. And there are a lot of requirements, but CareerSource Broward helps you through those state requirements. So I think that's been a pretty amazing. And while we're talking about that, Jackie, you've been talking about what we do all the time for internships, and talking about that. We've been working with Broward County Public Schools for, this will be year 4 coming up there, and hiring during summer programs to go out there. And again, it's students that are in place there that are looking for jobs. They are vetted by the schools. We've had a few rounds of people that are going out there, and it's kind of funny. We keep in contact with them. We have a little I'll call it winter break project, and reached out to our interns last year, and they're like, how could we come back and help? So
And
I
you
think
have the
that
best interns, I know.
it's been great to go out there, but these are, again, resources where we get to help out and go out there. And then I'm a regular speaker in Broward Tech Days. I'm probably going on year 7 of that, and Broward County works with the Fort Lauderdale to be able to get people to come out on a tech day, and it's schools all throughout the county. So I've been, believe it or not, last year was a middle school. So you have 6th and 7th graders in an auditorium saying, "Mr. Goldstein, how much will I get paid? How much do you make?" That kind of thing. But talking about technology and the questions that you get from them. I've been in various high schools to go out there, because people are confused. Do I go to college for this? Do I don't go to college for this? Am I specializing in this? What do you do? What did you do? So I feel like, all of us have so much to give. So we try to participate in all of these programs. And, I remember when I came out of college, it was one of those bad years where the job market wasn't great. And, everyone's like, "Oh, you had no experience." Well, if someone doesn't give me a break, how do I get
How do I
experience?
get experience? That's the big
So,
question always.
so I think, for me, I joked about it for probably, my high school years and my college years. I was a competitive swimmer in high school. So in the summers, I lived up in New York. I was a lifeguard. That was my summers. It made money. I never thought that I'd have to build up a resume and do all these things. And now, these internships and types of things are, a must. And I think that I have a lot to give back, and I have a lot to show. So I always want to participate and help people.
And Land Infotech has done just that. Now, it wasn't Michael that I interviewed, but I did interview your vice president, Tim Lambrecht, and Glenn Benjamin. And I talked to some of the interns that have participated in the Land Infotech internship program. And the response that I received was not what you expected. They were overjoyed, but also you learned a lot.
Oh yeah.
At Land Infotech, and you were surprised by what you received from these internships. And so, as we close today, as we say, have a great day here at Newsworthy Stories, I want you to hear from these interns because in this crisis of finding a competitive and competent workforce, these internships are extremely valuable into introducing students to your industry, introducing them to people that when they get out, they are already, on a solid foundation. And so, with that said, I'm going to share this story and thank you, Michael, for
Thank
giving
you,
us a
Jacqueline.
cybersecurity update. I love chatting with you, and you always have such great information. If you have questions about cybersecurity on any level, please give Michael Goldstein and his team at Land Infotech a call. See you next time, Michael.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Thanks for joining Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez.
From the time a baby is born until the child graduates, parents have one big question in mind. Will they be ready for the world? One South Florida company opening its doors to 2 students, giving them a taste of the business world with an aggressive hands-on internship. And it ended up being an education for them both.
It's a fair statement to say most businesses will go into this using interns. And what happens 9 times out of 10 is what? The staff has to teach the interns, and then the interns ask, hey, what did I learn again? I actually did tell our president, Michael, I said, look, I'm going to have to sit down with these guys again and teach them again, right? I'm just going to have to carve out time because we need them to do the work. But I know I'm going to have to retrain them and so forth. And guess what? That is not the case. I was completely wrong. I know I think it was about a month after they were with us, Melina was actually showing me how to do stuff. She was reminding me, oh no, remember we do it this way. I'm like, wow, it was just so cool to see their level of engagement, enthusiasm, and the passion that they had to learn.
You'll feel like an actual employee. You won't feel like an intern because everyone treats you as such, and you get to get real life experience. You get to actually go into the field, do work. We actually went to physical events when we could.
I personally don't think I would have been able to get this experience anywhere else. We learned a lot about cybersecurity, how to protect ourselves from that, how to function like all the Microsoft Office apps, how to function Teams, and they also showed us like the new version of Microsoft, helping us out with all of it. And through that, it wasn't like very certifications, but we still got like certificates saying like, oh, we're knowledgeable of the subjects. And I feel like that's just going to help me out in the long run.
I would imagine if companies had trouble with interns before and they just, I'm not going to do it now. I mean, we have just so much talent sitting here at our fingertips. It would be a shame not to take advantage of it. In many cases, the cost is covered, so it's not out of pocket. So what would the harm be if you gave any intern, a young intern in this case, some latitude to be able to do some things, let them prove it to you. We are so satisfied. I mean, we're over the moon with what we were able to do with our 2 young ladies.
Land Infotech is one of the fastest growing cybersecurity companies in the nation and has received numerous awards for being a leader in its industry. A key role Madiha and Milena were able to fill was organizing the company's massive database, as well as attending networking workshops online and in person.
This year's focus, we decided to try some students out in the marketing area. In the past, we've had interns in our engineering area. So this is a little bit different for us. It's more on the front end of the business.
I was actually one of the directors of marketing in DECA. I would make flyers, I would make newsletters, making me qualified to become a marketing intern. But one of my weaknesses for it was I actually do have a hard time sometimes public speaking, but throughout Land Infotech, they like forced me to put myself out there, learn how to talk with others. Like even though it was in a virtual environment, I feel like I did learn a lot with networking, especially. I never really knew how to do like something called an elevator pitch. I actually never even knew what that was. And with that, I was able to basically tell who I was and give them a rundown of who I am in 30 seconds without boring them with like a 5-minute conversation.
If I spent 30 seconds on an elevator pitch, here's probably where you want to start. And then they were gone. 30 seconds were over and they were already, reaching out to people. I put them center stage and just stood back and let them do their thing. They were really, really good.
People were shocked when they heard that we were high school interns, and they were kind of impressed with the company. So I think we definitely left a positive impact on other people we spoke to. Incorporating younger people into the workspace is something that's very important. So like them seeing us, even if they didn't make the choice to be a client of Land Infotech, hopefully it helped them see that, hey, this is something that should be happening. We should be hiring younger people and giving them a chance and nurturing them so that they can become better in their career and follow in my footsteps.
Land Infotech and its CEO, Michael Goldstein, no stranger to pouring into the community, helping thousands of businesses, nonprofits, chambers of commerce, and more operate virtually when this pandemic hit for free. They later began teaching nonprofits how to raise more money virtually than in person. Now they're pouring in to the next generation.
So I'm very thankful that we got to do a legit job interview, and we got to submit our resume. We got to talk about our skills. We got to market ourselves to them so that we can help them market their company. So I think that entire experience from the beginning was very well. And I enjoyed that part very much because it taught me some things. And now when I apply for other jobs, I'll be able to apply what I already know from experience at Land Infotech to my actual career.
Dia, Melina, you two are absolutely amazing. We absolutely love working with the two of you. You guys are far above the standard of what we would deem as an intern. I would say that we'd even offer you jobs in the future, but I got a feeling that both of you are going to run our country in different ways. You are absolutely that amazing. So we're very proud to work with you, and we're very proud of you both.